Hey, greetings everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here, and I just had the opportunity to have lunch with a 100-year-old World War II veteran Army Air Corps Captain James Baynam. And he gave me his essay that he wrote some years ago called A Stalag Christmas. And I want to read it to you. It was hard to tell which was the most exciting, the British Mosquito, a plywood-clad twin-engine British reconnaissance plane, or the cigars. The lightweight, speedy aircraft with its bullseye insignia came skimming across the snow-covered potato field a few yards from the double row of barbed wire fence surrounding Stalag Luft 1. Only a few feet above the ground, it roared past before sleeping German guards could reach the switches to turn on air raid sirens. By then, it had soared skyward, finishing its mission of photography of the Luftwaffe base a mile east of our camp. For those of us who were prisoners of war during the winter of 1944 to 1945, it was a sign of hope that an Allied victory was near. The cigars arrived the very same day. I reveled in my dream of Christmas at home and enjoyed prosperity brought on by 2 full boxes of cigars. But in a few days, we heard the German radio proclaiming a Wehrmacht breakout along the Belgian border. Apprehension filled the cold air of our barracks while we waited for confirmation, for of course we were suspicious of German claims. The report soon came. Some of our electronic wizards had converted the innards of a phonograph donated by the Swedish Red Cross into a radio that received British broadcasts. A BBC announcer repeated the Germans' news in a precise, measured, and even bored tone. U.S. troops were being captured, driven back, and even massacred. Our spirits sunk as we monitored reports from Bastogne and experienced a distinct new arrogance in the attitudes of our guards. Up until that moment, the green uniformed German troops had seemed to know the war would be over before long. Certainly, it would end with an Allied victory, and their actions reflected that belief when they stopped their prolonged searches of our barracks. It had been common practice to keep us out in the bitter cold, wind and snow, driving off the Baltic Sea while they prowled slowly through our meager belongings. As the German army retreated, our guards began to smile and trade oatmeal or extra bread for American cigarettes. It was still a stalag, but our living conditions improved as the Allies made progress on the battlefield. German success in the Battle of the Bulge, however, made them think that they might win the war after all. We thought they might too, and set our minds for a long year ahead in captivity. Then it was as if a miracle took place. First, the Mosquito roared into sight. Then the cigars arrived. And finally, some British Red Cross parcels arrived. The entire camp enjoyed the sight of the aircraft and everyone received the food, but the cigars only came into the 20-man room that was my home. Our folks were allowed to send a package of cigarettes or cigars once a month. They paid a tobacco company who made Lucky Strike cigarettes or King Edward cigars, and the producers mailed their products to the Red Cross for delivery to POWs. The gifts usually never made it past pilfering hands between America and Germany, but this one did. 3 days before Christmas, we received the Red Cross parcels. We had enjoyed them before, but they had always been American packages. These were British. Instead of Spam, there was corned beef. Instead of coffee, there was tea. They contained shortbread cookies and plum pudding. Instead of the corner store stuff from Texas, English staples from someplace like Coventry filled the cartons. I was cigar rich. I traded some for a warmer coat and a pair of used boots, then lit up and enjoyed my mogul position and entered into the conversation of how to celebrate Christmas. We discussed how to serve the delicacies, and my growling enthusiasm for the holiday gave me an idea. I still had over 20 of the stogies. We could have an English Christmas dinner. Then I'd give everyone a cigar. We'd lay back, blow blue smoke until it filled the room with warmth and memories of home, and top off the day with plum pudding. It would be a good day, giving us relief for a moment. It seems we were going to be in that place for a long time with the war going like it was. That's what happened on Christmas Day. We prepared the food with care and decorated the room with silver snowflakes cut from empty tin cans. For dessert, syrup was made from jelly, then poured over clean snow gathered from a compound. It was a peaceful scene, home-like. The meal began with a group prayer, then ended with a new BBC report that the weather had cleared around Bastogne. Supplies were being dropped. Airborne and paratroopers were coming in and the Germans were retreating. What a perfect day. It was time to light up the butt of that cigar for a few more puffs. This 1994 Christmas is 50 years later, and our house will be festive. A giant tree is in the large family room, is flocked white with snow and has dozens of multicolored lights. Irregular spacing of ornaments is a telltale sign that grandchildren have helped decorate. Before they come back, the spacing will be perfect, as if some magical fairy had straightened it all out. And the kids will bring their parents in and show them what a beautiful job they did. The mantelpiece is shimmering in light from glowing candles nestled in shiny brass holders. Poinsettias brighten up the hearth and tables with their red leaves. The dining table will have a giant turkey and candied yams hidden below a cover of toasted marshmallows, and the house will smell of gingerbread and cinnamon tea. Great packages wrapped in red and green and plaid will spill from the tree's base, and Silent Night will play from a set of bells over the door. A roaring blaze will be snapping and crackling in the fireplace. We'll all feel the roasting heat against our skin. Mistletoe will allow kisses and hugs to be exchanged, and we'll remember the Christ child and his parents as we build the creche on the buffet at the end of the table. This will be a beautiful family Christmas and will fall into my memory along with many that have been warm and loving. But none of them will replace the one 50 years ago. Though when 20 ragtag flyers, 19 to 20 years of age, lived in the good life in cold barracks in a room of a German prison camp on the edge of the Baltic Sea. English delicacies and a good cigar and 20 friends and good news at the end of the day. How could it be any better? Merry Christmas.